All right, y'all. So we got some good news here. Some surprisingly good news to share with you. So we've discussed quite a bit that the great Dr. Cornel West decided to run for president. Now, there was tremendous backlash over that fact. Why? Because he decided to run with a group called the People's Party. Now, the People's Party is beyond sketchy. The leader was accused of sexual harassment, but beyond that, he also did sort of a coup at the top of his own organization, and anybody who dissented against him was sort of axed. They've existed since about 2017. They've never gotten a single person elected anywhere. Not at the local level, not at the state level, not in the House of Representatives, not in the U.S. Senate, nowhere. Zero track record of success. Just a sketchy organization. And there's even they didn't even he announced his campaign, and they didn't even file the FEC paperwork for it. So I mean, look, guys, we're just talking amateur hour here. Beyond that, and this is probably the more important point, they had ballot access in 3 states. 3. I don't know if you know this. There are 50 states in the United States of America. So it's not a serious organization. There's no even slight prayer of we're going to go somewhere with this. Forget winning the presidency. Ain't no way you're going to get the 5% in that way, which is where you get matching funds, right? And then there's the bigger conversation about, as I always tell you guys, don't put the cart before the horse. If we get rid of first past the post voting and we get ranked choice voting, all of a sudden I am the biggest third-party simp on the planet. Why? Because then even the perception of this idea is I'm wasting my vote. It's the spoiler effect. That goes away completely. There is no more such thing as wasting your vote. You can go Green Party number 1, Democrat number 2, so on and so forth, right? But if you don't have ranked choice voting, and you still have first past the post voting, then any third-party effort is it's kind of hopeless. I want to be kind, right? But we've seen it time and time and time again. They fail over and over and over and over and over. It's a record of historic failure, certainly in modern American history. And so there's just an issue with the approach in general. Okay, but I tell you all that to tell you this. One of the main criticisms was, hey, Dr. Cornel West, we all love you. If you're going to run, at least run with the Green Party, because at least they have ballot access. I think they have 48 states. It may even have gone up since the last time, I saw that number. But they have access in at least 48 states. They're a more legitimate organization without it. I mean, they have their problems, of course, but they're a way more legitimate organization. Okay. Well, guess what? Cornel West, and this is important, heard people's criticism and said, you know what? You're right. You're right. So now I'm going to seek the Green Party nomination. In fact, it's a little up in the air right now. I don't know all the specifics, but it kind of sounds like he's just flat out abandoning the People's Party. He's like, and this was my theory. Yet again, I was proven right. My theory was, I don't think Cornel West knows about all the dirt and all the sketchiness around the People's Party. I don't think he has any idea. Well, now we get sort of verification that that's the case, because he's like, you know what? I'm going to run for the Green Party nomination now. So here he's on Katie Halper's show. Katie Halper, friend of the show, and she's talking to him about it. Let's hear what he has to say.
And what made you decide to shift from the MPP to the Greens, and why didn't you run with the Greens originally?
Well, one, his brother Nick and the others were kind enough to extend the invitation to me. Right. Very much so. And I still give them credit for that. We had a magnificent launching and so on. But then you had all of the baggage carried and the challenge of execution institutionally and so on. And when I did hear, mediated through my dear brother Chris Hedges, from certain individuals in the Green Party who had their own invitation for the nomination, I said, well, if in fact there's a good chance that I'll be able to have much broader infrastructure, institutional capacity, and make sure that there's no distractions in terms of any kinds of struggles or tensions or various kinds of stigmas associated with parties and persons, it's very important that I'm able to keep the focus where it belongs.
Look, he didn't know. He didn't know about all the dirt. He didn't know about all the sketchiness. He didn't know about all the weirdness. And to his credit, he course corrected and he adjusted. And now he's going to run with the Green Party. So, look, I'll say again what I said the other day. Now we have a situation where you can vote for Marianne Williamson in a Democratic primary. And then if you live in a swing state and it's the general election and you can't bring yourself to vote for Joe Biden if he's the nominee against the other Republicans, right? Well, then at least you have a place now where you can do your protest vote in a swing state, and you can hope that, hey, does he get to 5%? Does that make the Green Party get matching funds? Does that make them more viable, etc.? I'm still of the belief myself that you really need to get rid of first past the post voting. You really need to get ranked choice voting at the federal level, nationally, before this is a fruitful thing at all. That's my honest take on it. You need to do those things first in order to make this serious. But having said that, now it makes perfect sense, especially in a swing state. If you want to do your protest vote in a general, well, now you have a very good option. It's a very good option, right? So we'll see what happens moving forward. But you got to give credit to Cornel West that he listened to the outcry and he adjusted. And he didn't go, because a lot of these people, they hear criticism and they immediately go, no, smear, not true. And from his perspective, he goes, whether it is or isn't true, I don't really care. I don't want to distract everybody with this when we should be putting the issues front and center. Okay, and so that's why he's doing this. It looks like he's flat out leaving the People's Party, going to the Green Party. And I think it's probably likely he'll get the nomination. He's very well known. He's very famous. He's a public intellectual. He's been battling on the front lines for quite a long time. So I think he probably will get the nomination. And then we'll see what happens from there. But good on him for adjusting. Final point I'll make is this. I used to always make the argument, hey man, the more progressives, the merrier, right? Because believe in democracy, of course, as a matter of principle. So the more good options, the better. But as I've gotten older, the math side of my brain has been more aggressive, where it's like, well, hold on, but that doesn't make sense. If you want to win, you need to be unified behind a candidate. And so Marianne Williamson got into the race first. She's got politics that are very similar to mine. I have 90%, maybe 95% agreement with her. So ideally, I wish there's one progressive up against Biden, and then progressives can unify behind that progressive to give us the best chance of winning, right? But if it wasn't Marianne Williamson running against Biden, well then it would have been best case scenario not only for Cornel West, but for the movement if he had gotten in first and then it was him against Biden in a Democratic primary. Why do I say that? Because that's where he'd be able to make the most noise. That's where he'd be able to get taken the most seriously. That's where his numbers would be the highest. That's where the message would spread furthest and widest. That's where all the party infrastructure is. That's the way Americans are accustomed to voting in a two-party system when we don't have ranked choice voting and we have first past the post voting. They say all the time, oh yeah, maybe we'll vote for an independent this time. It's always either the Democrat or the Republican, right? So for him to make the most noise and be the most relevant and get the furthest and change things the most, I think he would have had to run as a Democrat. I think he would have had to be the first one in, right? It's not the case. It's not the direction he went. So now we have a great option, Marianne Williamson, in the primary. That's great. And then, like I said, if you get to the general election and you're in a swing state and you want to do a protest vote, well, at least now you have what will likely be a Green Party candidate who's a solid candidate and is for many of the right things. Like I said, I probably have 90 to 95% agreement with him as well, with his politics. So anyway, there's your breakdown of it. It's a positive thing that he adjusted course because this is certainly more serious. I use that term loosely because of my general issues with third-party stuff, but it's certainly more serious than what it was before. All right, guys, that's the show. I love you all very much. Thank you, as always, for listening. You know the shameless plugs. You could say it along with me, but click like, click subscribe, click that bell icon so you get a notification every single time a video drops. Much love to everybody who supports this show on Patreon and tips on YouTube. There's a thanks button below if you'd like to do that. Thank you for supporting Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. We got a great one coming up, by the way. We're going to get into it Is Trump going to prison? We're going to keep trying to dig and answer that question. We're going to look at all the evidence. We're going to talk to all the experts. It should be a great episode. Definitely check that out. And that's all I got for you guys. Remember, you can always listen to the full show on Spotify if you'd like, if you want to go full audio podcast versus video for video on YouTube. But that's it, baby. I love you all. Everybody have a great rest of your day. I'm out. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.